and Kira must fight to save the safe space. There. Kira must fight to save the safe. Wow, can't say this. No. Book browsing blog from book there. No. Why? I don't know why I'm still talking because I'm evidently very overexposed now. Hi and welcome back to The Books Are Everywhere. So today I have a video for you that is another TBR video and it's for another readathon. This readathon is taking place in the month of June and it is the Whatever-a-thon. So this is hosted by Maddie over at Book Browsing Blog, and honestly it just sounds like something I really want to take part in because you can read whatever you want. You can literally read whatever you want, but there is so many other rules to this readathon. I would definitely recommend that if you fancy taking part, then have a look at the announcement video, which I will link in the description below. I would also just generally recommend checking out Maddie's channel. She has a really fun Dart Attack TBR game she plays, and she posts a lot of other fun videos. So when I saw this readathon was happening, I just knew I wanted to take part. Because as I said, even though there is a lot of scope for what you can read, there is also some prompts and some other rules. A lot of it is based on points, so you earn points with how much you read. You earn points if you surpass the amount you originally wanted to read, which I chose 15. So you earn points for other things as well, like if a book has LGBT themes, because this is hosted in Pride Month. So as I said, this runs for the whole month of June, and you can pledge to read as many books as you like, and you can read literally whatever you want, but there is prompts. So the reason I decided to read 15 books is because there is 15 different prompts. I tend to read between 12 and 15, 16 books on average, especially this year my reading has picked up quite a lot. So I decided 15 was kind of a safe bet if I am reading a variety of things, reading some graphic novel, there is a verse one in here, things like that. And I think being in a readathon anyway is going to try and push me to read a bit more, so hopefully this is quite a safe bet. So today I'm just going to take you through all of the 15 prompts and what I want to read for those prompts. There is more than one book sometimes in a prompt, which will become clear because I don't think I'm being very clear right now, so I will talk you through that as well. So you can choose as many prompts as you like just for one book. If you wanted to find a book that hit all 15 prompts you could, but you will only earn points for up to 3 prompts per book. I am not doubling up on any prompts, but there is a few that fit the same prompt that I want to read more than one book for that prompt, but that will become a little bit clearer when I go into it. So let's just get started. There is, as I said, a lot of rules, but there is an announcement video and an FAQ that I would recommend checking out if you're going to take part in the readathon, because as I said, there is a lot of different rules. So the very first prompt is a book that reminds you of a pride flag, and of course I went for Heartstopper Volume 4 because this has purple in it and reminds me of the demisexual flag. I am demi myself, demi-romantic and demisexual, so I thought this was perfect to include. And I really want to read this soon. I absolutely love the Heartstopper books. You can't really see it, which is sad, but I'm wearing a Heartstopper t-shirt, which was from Hachette, so thank you very much to Hachette for sending me this lovely Heartstopper t-shirt. I wore this for this video and you can't see it, which is sad, but I really love the Heartstopper books and I can't wait to read this one. I mean, even waiting till next month is pain, but I do want to read this as part of the readathon. I reckon I will read this very soon in the month. The next prompt is reread a comfort read, and I am going for the first 3 Heartstopper books. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to reread these before reading volume 4 or whether I would just jump right in, but when this prompt came up I was like, this is perfect, and this is what I mean that I'm going to read all of these books separately and log them for the same prompt. So I'm going to log these all for reread a comfort read, which you can do, and you will get points for separate books, I believe, even not doubling up, reading more than one book just for one prompt. So I'm going to read these, and these are just going to be super quick reads, which is another reason why I decided yes, I would reread them. If you don't know about Heartstopper, this is a graphic novel series by Alice Oseman following Nick and Charlie. Charlie is Tori's younger brother from the Solitaire novel that Alice wrote, and this follows him and his relationship with Nick, who is at his school, and this is just a great gay romance set in a high school in Britain that also follows a lot of deeper topics such as coming out and growing up and all of the things that come with that, and also a lot of mental health issues and even eating disorders in particular. I would highly, highly recommend this series, and it's one I love a lot and definitely find to be a comfort read. So the next prompt is a 5-star prediction, and I'm slightly cheating with this one as I've put in Caraval. I've actually read Caraval before, but this was one of my favourite books in the world for a lot of years, but I haven't read this for years. I think I read this pretty much as soon as it came out, so let's see the year it came out because that is the most likely. So it actually didn't come out till 2017, which was later than I expected, but I haven't read this in 4 years, which to me feels like a long time. But when I read this before, I did rate it 5 stars, but I feel like my reading tastes have changed enough to say it may well change when I reread this one. The reason I'm going to reread this is because I want to finally read Finale. I did read Legendary when it came out, and I just kind of didn't feel the connection I did to Caraval. And I do wonder if part of that is because I hadn't read Caraval and Legendary back to back. So what I'm doing is I'm going to read them back to back during this readathon. As you will soon find out, me and Alex are buddy reading this one together and the whole series together. I'm very excited to reread this one, but as I said, it is kind of cheating because I rated it 5 stars before and it's not entirely new to me. If you didn't know about this one, this follows Scarlett and Donatella, who are sisters, and they live, I think, on an island. Yeah, they live on an island and they're pining after the wonder of Caraval, which is kind of this game that happens once a year. So it's like a week-long game that you can either go into and be a part of, or you can be a spectator, and they end up being a part of the game. And in the game you don't know, so anything that happens in there is going to not happen in the real world once you leave after the week is over. This was a complete mind game, not only for Scarlett and Teller, but also for the reader, and it has so many twists and turns, and I just can't wait to be back in this world. So the next prompt is an author's debut, and I have gone for Slay by Brittany Morris. I could honestly have safely swapped these round because I think this is going to also be a 5-star prediction. So I was tempted to put Caraval as an author debut because I think it was her first book, and put this one as a 5-star prediction, but I'm for now keeping it this way because this one is definitely the author's debut. But honestly, I've heard so many good things about this book that I can safely say it's going to be 4 or 5 stars. So this one is about 17-year-old Kira Johnson, who is a college student and one of the only black kids at Jefferson Academy. But by night she joins thousands of gamers in a VR world, which is called, the game is called Slay. But no one knows that Kira, the main character, is the game's developer, not even her boyfriend. But then a teenager is murdered over a dispute in the Slay world, and the media labels it as an exclusionist, racist hub for thugs. So threats start coming from the inside and outside of the game, and Kira must fight to save the safe space she has created. I have heard such good things about this, and I've heard really good things about the audiobook for this, which I do have on Scribd, so I'm very tempted to listen to it. Me and Alex are also planning on buddy reading this one. I will link Alex's channel down below as she has taken part in the readathon as well. So the next one is a book outside of your comfort zone, which I have gone for a classic. This is interesting because at the start of the year I would have definitely said a classic was very much out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing this thing this year where I'm reading a classic a month that's part of my Wordsworth set as recommended to me by friends. And honestly, I've become quite accustomed to them, especially the children's classics, which one of these is. So I may actually go for Wuthering Heights. I've actually kept 2 options for myself here, as I think I'm going to see how I'm doing in the readathon and how I'm doing generally with my reading in June before I choose one. I've gone for The Railway Children, which was recommended to me by Alex, or Wuthering Heights, which was recommended to me by my friend Sophie, who is Mind of a Book Dragon on Instagram and Twitter. So there is a couple here for me to choose from. As I said, I'm going to wait until the month actually starts before I choose this, and maybe wait until later on in the readathon to see how I'm doing, because I don't know if I'm going to want a kind of classic romance by Bronte or The Railway Children, which is a children's classic. I'm not going to describe which ones these are about, as I'm sure Most of you know what these are about, and these actually don't have synopsises on them, but these are two classics for me to choose from. This also means that I do hit that goal of reading one in June that has been recommended to me by a friend. And the next one is Hauled in the Past Year, and I have gone for The Deep Sea Duke by Lauren James, purely because this is tiny. This one is the sequel to The Starlight Watchmaker by Lauren James, which I have here, which is also tiny. These are about just over 100 pages each, and these are published by Barrington Stoke, who is entirely a dyslexia-friendly publisher. I will read anything Lauren James writes. I have no qualms with this being very short and dyslexia-friendly. This one is about an elite academy. It's set in space, and it's where the wealthiest students in the academy go to be educated. Hugo is a watchmaker who works in a dusty attic room, but he is one of the lucky ones as an android. Most are jobless and are homeless. A privileged student like Dorian could never understand their privilege. So Dorian is a different character. Also, Hugo thinks when the pompous Duke Dorian comes knocking at his door. But then Hugo and Dorian uncover a potential terrorist threat. Android and student must overcome their differences and work together to track down the culprit before the whole academy is placed in danger. I'm very tempted to actually reread The Starlight Watchmaker because it's been a couple years since I read it, and they're so short that I might actually do that. And then this one follows the same characters in the same world as they kind of carry on with their journey. So I did obviously partly include this because it's a short book and I don't want to stress myself out too much with the amount that I've chosen to read. But I'm very, very excited to finally get to this one, and I hauled it back in January, February when it came out. I think I actually hauled it more recently than that, but it came out early this year. And then we have an indie or self-published book. Now this one was quite hard to find as I don't have that many indie books, especially not self-published. But Maddie says in her announcement video that you can basically read anything that's outside of the big five. So I went for Show Us Who You Are by Elle McNichol, and this is published by Knights of, which is quite a small publisher in comparison to the big five. I am so excited for this one. I picked it up recently because I found a signed copy of it in a Waterstones, and I'm really excited for this. I didn't read A Kind of Spark, which was her first book that came out I think last year or the year before, but this one is about Cora and Adrian, and basically Cora is quite antisocial and she's not looking for a new best friend. She doesn't want to explain that she's different. I believe that she probably has autism, as I believe Elle has autism herself and wants to portray that in her characters. And I know that A Kind of Spark does follow a character with autism, so I believe that that is what is happening in this book as well. But then Adrian surprises her and she's drawn into a whirlwind of fun, adventure and true friendship and the mysterious world of the Pomegranate Institute. So Cora becomes captivated by the Pomegranate's hologram technology that can bring people back to life. But she soon finds out that there are secrets lurking beneath the surface. So it says, can Cora fight to make her voice heard and not lose sight of herself? This one is also a middle grade book, so hopefully it shouldn't take me too long to read, but I'm still really excited for it. So this was for an indie or self-published. And the next one on this list is Person of Colour Rep, so I went for Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. I've heard such good things about this book. So I was gifted this one as part of a Secret Santa by Nikki from Book and Lemon Squash, and I'm just super excited to read this one. This is a Cinderella retelling that has a black protagonist. So I will read you the synopsis of this one as I'm not entirely sure what it's about outside of Cinderella retelling. So it's 200 years since Cinderella found her prince, but the fairy tale is over. Sophia knows the story through off by heart because every girl has to recite it daily, from when she's tiny until the night she's sent to the royal ball for choosing, and every girl knows that she has only one chance. For the lives of those not chosen by a man at the ball are forfeit. But Sophia doesn't want to be chosen, she doesn't want to go to the ball at all, not when she's afraid the girl she loves might be chosen too. Pushed beyond breaking by a society that denies everything she is, Sophia sets out on a journey that will remake her world into one where she gets to choose. So as you can tell from this synopsis, it's also an LGBT romance, it's a sapphic romance, and I'm just super excited for this one. I think it also has a lot of feminist undertones, which sounds great to me, so I'm really looking forward to finally having an opportunity to pick this one up. And the next one I actually did a poll for, which I chose 4 different books, which were This Is Where It Ends, Written in the Stars, House of Hollow and Blackout, 2 of which have been on my TBR for a long time and I need to get to, and 2 of which are new releases. And House of Hollow actually won, which I'm quite excited for, as I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's one I recently picked up. So this one is a new YA horror. I think it's also a feminist horror, and this is by Crystal Sutherland, who wrote Our Chemical Hearts. And this says, dark, dangerous things happen around the Hollow sisters, ever since they disappeared as children, only to reappear a month later, with no memory of what happened to them, and odd, eerie occurrences follow in their wake. When Grey, the eldest, goes missing again, Iris and Vivi are left to find out the mystery, but they aren't the only ones looking for her. As they brush against the supernatural, Iris realises that the world that returned them 10 years ago might be calling them back, but how much horror lies beneath the surface. So this one is also quite a small book. I think it comes in at just over 200 pages, so just nearly 300 pages, but still it is quite a short book, so I'm also glad it came up as part of the readathon. So the next one was Fit a TBR game prompt, which I went for. So basically you can choose any prompt from anyone's TBR game. So I rewatched Maddie's most recent Dart Attack, which was from May, and I chose the Continue with the Series. And this is because I wanted to fit Finale somewhere and I wanted to fit Legendary somewhere. So Finale is the last book in the Caraval trilogy, and this is the only one that I haven't read because I knew after reading Legendary and not enjoying it quite as much as I wanted to or expected to, that I wanted to reread these back to back. So me and Alex are going to do this in this month, and I decided to try and fit this in somewhere, so here it is. And the next one comes as no surprise, is Legendary by Stephanie Garber, the second book in the Caraval series. As I said, I have read this one before, and although I enjoyed it nowhere near as much as Caraval, and I was very disappointed by it because of that. This is part of the buddy read prompt because, as I said, I'm buddy reading the whole series with Alex. And the next one, we are nearly there, is a book that has disability or mental health rep. I found this one quite hard to choose because I feel like a lot of books do have this rep, but it isn't really advertised and you don't really know it until you start reading a book. So eventually I went for Punching in the Air. This is by Ibi Zoboi and Youssef Salem, and I'm really excited to read this one. This is actually written in verse, which I'm very excited for. So this, I believe, is about one of the Central Park 5, and that is Youssef Salem, who I think is actually one of the Central Park 5 who was wrongly convicted for the Central Park 5 murder. So this follows Amol Sahid, who has always been an artist and a poet, but even in his diverse art school, because of a biased system, he's seen as disruptive and unmotivated. Then one fateful night, an altercation in a gentrifying neighbourhood escalates into tragedy. Boys just being boys turns out to be true only when those boys are white. The story that I think will be my life starts today. Suddenly, at just 16 years old, Amol is convicted of a crime that he didn't commit and sent to prison. Despair and rage almost sink him until he turns to the refuge of his words, his art. This never should have been his story, but can he change it? So this one I'm super excited for, and I've heard really good things about, and I'm really excited to kind of explore the themes that are within this one. I also chose it partly because it is a verse book, so hopefully it won't take me long to get through. And I did double check with Courtney, who has read this one, and I've seen a few other people say there is mental health rep in this book, obviously because the people in this book are going through such trauma as well. I believe there will definitely be some mental health rep. And the next one is a bookish creator's favourite, and I went for Cersei by Madeline Miller, which I believe is Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction. It's one of her favourites. There is a graphic of the hosts' favourites. There is teams within this readathon, and one of the hosts is Ashley of that team. So the teams have like team captains, and there's a graphic that has all of the team captains' favourite books, and this one is one of them. This has been sat on my shelf for a while. I had a paperback copy that Courtney gave to me, and then my lovely friend Amy swapped this one for the paperback because the hardback copy is just so pretty, and I really wanted it. So this one is a Greek mythology retelling that is also by the same author as The Song of Achilles, so it's very popular right now. And I will read you the very long synopsis of this one. This says, in the house of Helios, I do apologise if I pronounce any of this incorrectly, god of the sun and mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born. But Cersei has neither the look nor the voice of divinity, and is scorned and rejected by her kin. Increasingly isolated, she turns to mortals for companionship, leading her to discover a power forbidden to the gods, witchcraft. So when love drives Cersei to cast a dark spell, vengeful Zeus banishes her to the remote island of Aia. There she learns to harness her occult craft, drawing strength from nature, but she will not always be alone. Many are destined to pass through Cersei's place of exile, intertwining their fate with hers. The messenger god Hermes, the craftsman Daedalus, a ship bearing a golden fleece, and wily Odysseus on his epic voyage home. There is danger for a solitary woman in this world, and Cersei's independence draws the wrath of men and gods alike. To protect what she holds dear, Cersei must decide whether she belongs with the deities she is born from or the mortals she has come to love. So many words I didn't know how to pronounce, but I've heard really good things about this book. Courtney's read it and loved it and thinks I'm gonna love it, and I'm very excited for it. I also really like Ashley's channel, which I will also link below for you to go and check out. So I'm excited to read this one, even if I can pronounce none of the names. And last but not least, we have Xoxo by Axio, which I'm super excited for, and I actually have the Fairy Loot edition pre-ordered, but Harper360 very kindly sent me a proof copy, so thank you to Harper. And this says that your cover features your team's colour. I went for Camp Contemporary thinking I would be reading mostly contemporary, and I honestly feel like I'm not really reading mostly contemporary, and I kind of think I should have gone for the Comrades of Chaos, because as we've established, I'm chaotic, but I didn't, and this one kind of has like bluey tones, and the Camp Contemporary team is a blue team, so I've gone for this one, very loosely kind of fitting into this one. And this is about a cello prodigy who has spent years planning her perfect future, and a member of the biggest K-pop bands in the world, one of the biggest K-pop bands in the world, who is strictly forbidden from dating. When a relationship means throwing both of their lives off the paths they've spent years mapping out, they have to decide once and for all how much they're willing to risk for love. I'm so excited for this one. It sounds like so much fun, it sounds like a great contemporary, and I love the idea of it being set in Korea, so I'm very excited for this one. I thought it'd fit perfectly into the readathon. So this one comes out, I believe, in July. And the last prompt on this list is to read a book that starts with the last letter of the book you just read. So for example, if I just read Cersei, this title ends in E, I could then read Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, for example. I actually haven't set a book for this prompt purely because I want to see where I'm at with this readathon. I will probably do this readathon in some kind of order of the one that I've put out today. So I'm going to leave this prompt to quite far into the readathon just to see kind of where I'm at and what I want to pick up, and I'm just leaving this quite loose for myself. But obviously at some point I will have to choose, or I'll be stuck with the last book that I read for part of the readathon in this list. So we shall see what happens with that one, but I'm sure you will see as I'm planning on vlogging most of this readathon, probably all of this readathon, so look out for those vlogs. Thank you so much for watching this video that I feel like turned out to be quite long and rambly, and I'm really tired from work. So thank you for sticking with me throughout what I feel like has been a very long and rambly video. If you do want to find out any more information about the readathon, then check out the links below, especially the announcement video and the FAQ video for the readathon. So please drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, and comment down below, especially if you're taking part in the readathon as well. And please subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this and my vlogs of this readathon if you want to see those. And I will see you next time with another video.